what does Superman do when Superman is sad? What does Wonder Woman do when Wonder Woman felt homesick? What did Batman do? Wolverine? And now, present day, what did Black Panther do? These were some of the questions that spurred me on to this point right here. And it kind of helped me because when I talk with young people, one of the things that they really identify with, especially males, not just Black males, males in general, we identify with that superhero story. You know, we like the idea of a superhero kind of making it and overcoming. Um, and so young students, they really like that. So without further ado, I'm going to keep going, but this is what I want to do first. I am going to, I want to show you something, okay, really quick. So I want you to look at this board right here. And this board is numbered, if you all can see it, this board is numbered from 1 to, I think it's 1 to 80. So what I want you to do is I want you to, for the next 10 seconds, I want you to start with number 1. I want you to locate the 1, then I want you to locate the 2, then I want you to locate the 3. All right, so everybody understands what we're doing. So I want you to go right now. So get as far as you can go, counting in succession. Okay, I want you to stop. I want you to stop. Now in the chat, tell me how far you got with your numbers. Let me see here, okay. So I see 3. Oh, 3. Holly got the 2. Good job, Holly. That's all right. That's all right. That's where I was at the first time. Diane got 3. Okay, 2. Kyle, you got 2? That's where you were at, 2? Okay, Kyle got 2. Anybody get past 3? Rena, you didn't get past 3, you just got 2? You can't see the full screen. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you, thank you. Let me pull this up again. Let me see if we can make this better for you. I think that's where I can get to right there. So while you're looking at this, this is what I want you to do now. Think about this really quick. So there is a pattern with this right now. There's a pattern. Press the 140 button. Huh. Okay. So I don't see it. I'm gonna keep going. There's a pattern with this. 1, if you go from right to left, you should be able to see them. 1, 2. Let me pull this one down. Oops. There we go. So what I wanted you to see is that we'll keep going. What I wanted you to see is that there's a pattern when you move from left to right, left to right, left to right. All right, 1, 2, and then you'll see the other ones. Okay, of course, they're down here. But there's a pattern when you move along with this. That's what I wanted you to kind of see, which was interesting. Don't worry about that. We'll keep moving. And so I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that this whole piece about self-care is a pattern. It's a process for us to keep learning, for us to keep doing, for us to keep moving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I am brief, bright, and I'm going to make sure that I'm to the point with this whole piece. Let me make sure to have my right PowerPoint up so we can keep moving. Let me see here. You know what? I'm blaming everything on COVID. So if anything, if there are any glitches or anything else, we are all blaming this on COVID today. So don't worry about that. We're going to keep going, and we're going to keep doing this. All right. So if you should be able to see this right now, just a quick welcome, warm up activity. I had another activity for you, but that one was pretty good, and we'll just keep going from there. We'll be talking about self-care and boundaries, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about the possibility of you all creating a self-care plan. So again, my name is Rhondo Cooper, and I'm here to talk to you definitely about this self-care piece. One of the things that I kind of wanted to start with is basically, what is self-care? In the chat, just chat out one word that will talk to me about how you're feeling today. Just one word. And somebody raised their hand. I will get right to you in just a second. Let me look at these. A little tired, good, calm. Okay, a little tired. Okay, excited, relaxed. Good, 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 good. I see somebody rose their hand. Let me make sure. Can you unmute? Are they allowed to unmute themselves so they can ask the question? Diane? Give me 1 second.
No, Rhondo, all of our participants are muted.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. If you can ask your question in the chat box then, because everybody's unmuted, but I think there was a question from, who was that? If you can ask your question right in the chat box, that'll help me out.
Rhondo, this is Ashley. I just went ahead and unmuted Mary Ann so that she can ask her question.
Okay, thank you.
I feel good today.
You feel good today? Good. Yes. All right. All right. All right. Good. Did you have a question? Okay.
When I think of self-care, I think of taking good care of yourself, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I love it. Yes. Yes. That was. I think Angie had a question too. Can you unmute Angie? Because I think she had a quick question. Not a problem.
Oh, I was sorry. I was just answering somebody's question that we didn't have to pre-register. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, but seriously though, what does self-care mean to you? Since I got you.
Well, self-care, I have 2 little ones at home.
Yes.
And so the days that I think that all of us have been having, I have to make sure I'm kind of leaving it at the door, but I have to make sure that I have time for myself when I get home. And I think I have a good balance with my husband that, sometimes he needs the grocery list to get out to run nonsense errands. Sometimes I just want to go in the basement and play my guitar for 30 minutes. And so self-care needs to be partnered up with him to make sure that he's doing it too. But I think we've got a pretty good balance going on here.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. And whoever that was, I hope they got your answer to your question. You're right. Thank you. So self-care is really about, and I don't have to read this to you, but it's really about that being active or taking an active role in protecting like your well-being and your happiness, especially during stress. So I think Mrs. Harris said she looked at the different domains with that. And then the next young lady said that it was also important that she was active in making sure that she left that stuff at the door, that she actually went through to make sure. And I brought this piece up right here because there are a couple different dimensions of self-care. With these dimensions, and I'll tell you a story. When I first started doing counseling, so I used to be in private practice, but I did suicide assessments for a number of years at the Kent County Jail, and I worked out at Bellamy Creek Prison. So one of the things, it was an interesting experience for me because what happened was when I was working with the young people at the Kent County Jail, surprisingly enough, it was a third shift job. I love third shift. Third shift didn't work for me and my family, but when I was working at that job, I surprisingly enough started hearing me say some of the stuff that my young people or that the guys or the ladies in the jail were saying. They were saying, hey, hey, Coop, how's it going? Right now, man, I'm having a tough time sleeping. I was like, oh, okay. And so I was like, okay, that's not a biggie. I have a tough time sleeping too. And he's like, hey, Coop, sometimes I feel kind of sad. Things aren't kind of going good. I'm like, oh, okay. And I said to myself, I started having some of those issues. They talked about relationship issues. Well, one thing led to another, and I sought out help just for myself. I said, let me go check this stuff out. I'm a counselor, and I wanted to go see if there was something bigger to this. So my counselor suggested at that time that, because I kept talking about sleep. So Mrs. Harris, what I did is I went to my counselor, and the counselor suggested that I go to a sleep clinic. And y'all, I found out that well, first of all, my wife told me that I was snoring. And I said, no, I don't snore. I don't hear any snoring. So she was like, whatever. So when I went, I found out that I had a sleep disorder, sleep apnea. So long story short, when I was going through the process of the test, the lady said, okay. She said, lay down and get relaxed. And I said, okay, I'm gonna get relaxed. And she said, we'll come back in when we wake you up. Lady came back in, Ashley, and she said, okay, Mr. Cooper. She said, you ready for your second test? I said, yeah. She said, you fell asleep. I said, no, I didn't. She said, yeah, you fell asleep. I said, no, I didn't fall asleep. She said, okay, well, get relaxed. We'll do the second test and we'll just see. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get relaxed. So I was laying there and looking around the room. The lady came back in and said, hey, Mr. Cooper, all right, you ready for your third test? And I said, my third test? She said, yeah. And I said, well, hold on for a second. I said, I fell asleep again. So as you can imagine, I did fall asleep. And so there I found out that my dimensions, that I wasn't taking care of myself. So if I wasn't taking care of myself, especially with this area right here, this systemic area, right, with this rest, that was messing with the cognitive piece. And then of course, that was messing with my environmental, but my relationship piece with my family. So it's important, again, just like when we are looking at that plate that the Department of Food is kind of sending out, I'm sure I just butchered the name, when they said to make sure that we have certain things on our plate. This is something, and I'll make sure you all have a copy of this so you don't have to worry about taking any notes or anything. I do like questions, but you don't have to worry about taking any notes, and I'll get this stuff to you. But just like you need to have certain greens, certain vegetables, certain meats, and certain carbs on your plate, you really need to assess yourself when you're looking at these domains of self-care. So, and it's a balancing act, right? This whole piece of self-care is up and down. We're trying to figure it out. And it's not something that we should take lightly, or that we can just easily do. We need to be methodical. I think that definition said that we need to play an active role in making sure that we do this. So this won't be easy, but this is something that we all can do. This is something that we can juggle. We have figured it out. We are the people. I remember the commercial when on TV, I think it was an Army commercial, and they kind of talked about how when there's a fire, that these people run towards the fire. If there's a problem, these people run towards the problem. If there's an issue out in another place, these people run towards that. You do that. When I think about counselors, you are superheroes to me because you do that. You are the ones that when your friends, you've had a long day and no matter what, the people will, if I ask your friends about you, they'll say, oh yeah. They'll say, oh yeah, Ashley is one of those people who will always lend an ear. They'll say, Mrs. Harris, oh yeah, if you need to talk to Miss Harris, no matter how tired she is, she'll still kind of talk to you. They'll say, oh yeah, Diane, Diane, you know what, who can we count on to get here? Oh, Diane will be there. Diane will be there, she can do that. And so I guess what I'm trying to say through this talk is that you all need to be thinking, not only helping people, you need to examine why it's really important for you to help other people, but you need to also be looking at yourself. You need to be trying to figure out how you can do that with yourself in terms of kind of juggling all this information, your interpersonal, your community, all that. How do you juggle that in addition? Okay. Let me ask this too, just to have a little fun. If I'll put this in here, but I would like to know if, like, what superpower. So if you had a superpower, what would it be? And if you think that you have a superpower now, what would that be? Just put that in the chat for me while I'm going right now. Just really quick, what would that be for everybody? Okay. Teleportation. Huh. All right. You want to fly. Diane said fly. Sleep. Okay. All right. Breathe underwater. Huh. Teleport, mind reading. Okay. Interesting. Okay, all right, I see mind reading, I see a lot of flying. You know what? Let's have a little fun with this. So what superpower would you not want your enemy to have? What superpower would you not want your enemy to have? Write that in there too real quick. Huh. Mind reading. Wow, everybody doesn't want, but you would want them to have invisibility. Wow, Brandon. See into the future. Okay. All right. Brandon says, see in the future. I see a lot of mind reading. Somebody said, I don't want my other, oh, Beth said she didn't know. Okay. All right. Somebody said, I don't want my enemies or whatever to have that ability to be invisible. And I think that means probably to be next to them. Thank you. Hold on one second. And Amy has a quick question, I think. Amy, do you want to type it in there so we can see it? And then Ashley, if you can look for that question for me and then kind of say that out loud and then we'll get it. Okay. So what I'm saying right now is that we all are unique, right? So there's no way to practice, there's like one way to practice this self-care piece. We all are different with this. And so this self-care is a big thing to be able to swallow. But if we start with our boundaries, that might be a perfect place. And so I'll switch so we can start talking about boundaries a little bit more. Let me keep going. I am going to skip through some of this. just because our time together is pretty short. And I'll just do this part right here. Boundaries give us a sense of agency over one's physical space, body, feelings. We all have limits, and boundaries communicate that line. Yes or no? Do you have, you can put it in the chat, yes or no, do you have a difficult time with, oh, no, I won't say this. So my question is this: why do we as counselors have a difficult time with boundaries? Put that in the chat for me real quick. Okay. And then I see Kara. Ashley, can you tell me what, Kara, can you help unmute Kara? Oh, okay. Because we're empathetic and we want to help. Nice, nice. Did I say the name right, Kara?
No, it's Kara.
Kara, that's why I said that. Okay, Kara. I apologize. Kara, did you go to Aquinas by any chance?
No, I'm CMU Chippewa.
Chippewa. Oh, okay. Lucky you. No, seriously though. What were you about to say?
We tend to put others first.
Mm.
Well, I don't know. I guess I do. Because
No. You talking? You speaking to? This is our congregation. Yes. Go ahead.
I tend to put others' needs above my own needs because I want to help. And being a helper, my needs come last as a general part of my personality, I guess.
Right. No, I love that. I love that. So Kara said that because we put our needs, we put our needs behind everybody else. And Mike said because we are so empathetic and put others first again. So thank you, Kara. Here's my question. So here's my other question. Why are we, and you know what, I'm just going to ask this just so you can kind of think about it, but why are we afraid? Why are we afraid? Oh, Beth was also called, it sounds like, but why are we afraid to put ourselves first? Is Beth on the line right now? Ashley, I know I'm working you. Beth, really quick.
I can mute, well, I can mute or unmute anyone for you. They just have to raise their hand. Otherwise I have to like search through the list for them and I don't necessarily know like what that. So
Beth,
raise your hands and I'll let you speak. Here we go, Beth.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
Go ahead, Beth.
All right, I am unmuted.
Yes.
And did you have a question for me?
Yes, I do. Why are we afraid to put ourselves first? Why are most of our friends, most of our counseling friends?
Afraid to put ourselves first.
Yes.
I don't know that I've necessarily looked at it that way. I'm sure that it's true and I should, but I just feel, personally, I just feel such a calling to do this.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, I think that is what Jesus has called us to do, and we're supposed to bear one another's burdens, and that's a way to do it.
And you know what? I'm so happy that you said that, because sometimes with that calling or being felt like we have been put on this earth to do that. For example, I'll use myself for example. I found out and learned early on that and surprise everybody that I would not be Oprah, that I don't understand the numbers and all that like everybody else. Since you brought in God, I'll say for me, what God did for me was God said, hey, I need you to be a king and a queen maker. So for me, my job is not to be that person out front and doing everything. My job is to help people to be the best versions of themselves. My job, I know that I was sent here for, is to help groups and other people to do what they do. So I get up and I get excited about helping everybody in the morning. Now, let me go back to what we were just talking about, is that especially when we're looking at boundaries, I think flying on, a friend told me this one time. He said, when you fly on an airplane and they're giving you that whole spiel, one of the first things that they tell you to do is to put on your mask, what?
Before you help somebody else with
Before you
theirs.
help somebody else.
Absolutely.
And so I think that it's important that, and you can mute yourself now, but thank you so very much. But I think it's important that we not only understand our mandate from where that came from, and we connect with that, but the more we can help ourselves, the more we can help other people. And so that's really important. Somebody said, ditto Mark, you can't help others if you don't care for yourself. Think about the oxygen. Go ahead. Okay. Somebody was right on it, for real. So how do boundaries support self-care and setting these boundaries? Let's look at this really quick. And you know what? Let's keep going. Okay. I'm going to skip past these two. Well, boundaries improve our relationship and self-esteem. Boundaries can be flexible. I'm going to go through these. Boundaries allow us to conserve our emotional energy, and boundaries give us space to grow and to be vulnerable. Here's one of the things that I want you to do. So I want you to try to human be and try to do this really quick. So here's what I want you to do. If I know you're probably sitting at home and you're probably chilling, so I want you to shake your hands out to your side and kind of relax, kind of take your head around, around the other way. I want you to take a deep breath and let your shoulders go and just relax. Okay, this is what I want you to try. And if you don't try it, you're going to miss something wonderful. So I'm going to say that right now. And I can see you if you're not trying this. So I want everybody to try it. Don't tell me that you're trying it and you're not trying it, Mark. Okay, so here we go. This is what I want you to do. I want you to take your right foot and I want you to make counterclockwise circles with your right foot. Counterclockwise. Just some slow circles counterclockwise. Then I want you to take one of your hands and I want you to put it in the air while you're making these counterclockwise circles, and I want you to draw an S in the air. And then I want you to put in the chat what just happened. I know I'm working this chat, but that's okay because I wanted to be able to put you all in rooms, but that's okay. Very small counterclockwise. Wow, okay, so it's filling up. Very small counterclockwise circles. Your foot changed. Totally messed up. Car. Wow. Somebody swore. I started making circles with wait. Okay, foot went the other way. I could. All right. So let's slow down. So I caught you all off guard when I did that. Diane, I apologize. I caught everybody off guard. So now you know what we're about to do. I want you to relax again, get in your happy place. Think about, your favorite toy when you were young or your favorite superhero cartoon, because that's what we're talking about. Okay, I want you to try it again. I want you to make very small circles with your right foot, Diane. And then I want you to take one arm, one hand, and I want you to make a big S in the air at the same time. And this time it should change for you. Let's see, because we're all counselors and you all like challenges. So let's see what you did. Put it in the chat for me again so I can see if anybody, I will buy anybody cups of coffee if you were able to do it. Renee, you were able to do it? You did much better, or you were able to do it? Much better. Okay. All right. Somebody did. Renee did it? Cara said, I cannot do this. Wow. Okay. Don't feel bad, Carl, because I can't do it. A challenging skill. Okay. Beth. Oh, Amy, I did it 3 times before, and again, making sure. You know what? You know what, Amy? Okay, yeah, okay, all right, all right. Beth, no, Jennifer. Can Jennifer raise your hand so I can have Ashley kind of. That's fine. Jennifer raised her hand. Jennifer raised her hand. So Ashley, can you unmute Jennifer really quick? Okay, Jennifer.
Yes.
Yes, you were able to do it?
No, I said I still can't.
even when you went slow?
Correct.
Oh my God.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I was being very honest.
No, 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 no. I appreciate you being honest. I appreciate you being honest because somebody in here said they could do it. Whoever said they did it, raise your hand real quick because we want to hear from you. All these years that I've been doing this activity, thank you, Jennifer. All these years I've been doing this activity, I have found anybody who can do it. So please raise your hand. I think it was it Amy or was it Amy who said you could do it? Oh, now you're gonna be shy and say now you're gonna be shy and not Renee. Renee's hand is up. Renee's hand is up.
I did it one time and then I could not do it again.
You drew the circle. I mean, you did the circle and you did the S.
One time and then I messed up after that.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess you know what? I need to write that down. Ashley, keep track of that. So
I was grinning from ear to ear.
I bet you were. You should have taped that for us. You should have taped that for real. That's like one of those trick YouTube shots, so we can see that for real. You need to, yes. And your next session, if they allow you to show yourself, you need to show everybody that you can do that and say, "Coop, I got it." Now,
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anybody else really quick want to raise your hand and say something about that activity before I keep going? Real quick, going once, going twice. Well, the reason that I did that is because I wanted you all to know that it's really important that you focus on you. When I think the more that we're able to help ourselves and do for ourselves, then we can help other people and do for other people. So this is one of those things. So I have a neurologist friend that explained it to me. He said that something about the right brain and left brain, and when you're trying to do that, that signal has a difficult time getting across. And so that's where your challenge comes into play. So I want you during the next couple of weeks to practice on that piece, because this is something you definitely can learn. So when we talk about our boundaries, going back, our boundaries are shaped by our heritage or culture, the region we live in and come from, whether we're introverted, extroverted, somewhere in between, our life experiences, and our family dynamics. When I was going through school, one of the things that I learned something about relationship currency. And so relationship currency is the currency or the money that we use in relationships to show that we are connected. To give you a quick example, my family, Mrs. Harris, what we do is we are huggers and kissers in my family. When I go home, I have to kiss my grandmother, my aunt. I have to kiss all the ladies before I go to anybody else. I have to go to them because they are like the leaders of my family, and I have to kiss them and hug them in order of importance. That's just the way we do it in our family. When my cousins bring home their girlfriends and stuff like that, they hate it because when they see me outside, I don't walk up and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I walk and tackle them in the grass and we start wrestling around. They like, "Cool." They like, "Stop, man, stop." I don't care, but that's how we do. We huggers and kissers. Really quick, my wife's family, they don't do a lot of hugging and kissing. So they do, they make sure that the cards are filled up. They make sure that the bills are paid. They make sure that the doors are fixed. This is all the stuff that her dad did. So me and my wife have been married for 25 years. And one day she told me when we were young, my dad every night parked every car in order of who got out first. He backed every car in the driveway so they would know. And I said, he did what? So think about us and our relationship. And I'm trying to hug my wife and I'm saying, "Hey, I want a hug," or "Hey, how you doing?" And my wife is like, "Hey, the dishes aren't done." I'm like, "Okay, we get the dishes, but hey, I want a hug. Hey, Vic, how's it going?" And she's like, "Hey, that doorknob isn't fixed." that relationship currency is a real thing. So I'm saying this is that our boundaries are different based upon our cultures and where we come from. Another quick story is I used to hate it, and some of you probably hate this, but I used to hate it when I would be talking in the room or talking in the meeting and somebody would be walking slightly towards me with every step that they said. Before I noticed what happened, I started walking backwards. So every time they took a step, I would take a step backwards. Every time they took a step, I'd take a step backwards. Every time they took a step, I would take a step backwards. I would take a step backwards. So once I figured out what's happening, I started to make sure that I started to try to make sure that I was stopping. And, you know, I was a little passive aggressive. I'll admit it. Beth, I was a little passive aggressive. I started walking towards them. So one day, me and this guy almost kissed in the meeting. He said, "Oh," and I said, "Oh." And so we had a funny conversation about our different boundaries. So I want you to think about that when you talk about your boundaries and you think about your boundaries. And also when we think about those boundaries of other people, they're different places at different ways and different family dynamics. Man, baby bucker, I should have done that before I started presenting. But you have basic rights. I want you to hear yourself saying this. All right. I want you to hear yourself saying this, Brad. I have the right to say no without feeling guilty. Ms. Harris, I want you to know that I have the right to be treated with respect. Diane, I have the right to make my needs as important as others. I have the right to be accepted of my mistakes and my failures. And I have the right not to meet others' unreasonable expectations of myself. This is you. You all have these rights. You have these rights. I'm gonna say it again. You have these rights. Don't forget that. I want you to make sure that you remember that. Because again, we are helpers. We are the ones that run in and that dive in, and that come in when nobody else will come in. We will talk a little after hours. We will spend our times talking to our friends. We will talk in the grocery store. Everybody thinks that just because my wife is an English teacher at the community college. She's the director of developmental ed. And she told me, hey, I talk to students and I work on stuff all day. When I come home, I don't want to talk. I was like, I'm sorry. And I was sad. She hurt my ego. So tell her she hurt my feelings when you all meet her, Vicky Cooper. All right. You have these rights. I wanted to make sure that you saw this. Let me keep going because I will get distracted. This is how you actually create your boundaries. When I'm talking create, and I'll highlight that word create because this is about making. Be assertive, learn to say no, safeguard your spaces, get support, and then know what you value. This is how to set your boundaries. So my wife asked me the other day, she said, what's the difference between this one and the last slide? The first side is talking about creating those things that you want. And this slide is actually talk about how to set those. And again, I'll make sure that you all have this information so you'll be able to, you don't have to really take a lot of notes. So how do you set these boundaries? And you begin with these, you begin thinking right here. I value, so I need, and will honor by, right? I value energy and clarity. That's what my wife would say. I value energy. My wife would say she values clarity. She's like, if I'm not having fun if it's not clear. And I'll say, hey, I just want to have fun. So I need personal time, right? And I will honor by having a firm morning ritual. I try to meditate in the mornings. My wife's ritual is leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Don't mess with me. That's her ritual. Her voice doesn't sound that deep, Brad, but yes, that's my wife's ritual. Leave me alone in the morning. So, and I honor that time. Does anybody have any questions really quick before I move on? I'm almost done. Okay. So here's also how you create that self-care plan, right? You evaluate, you envision. We all know about the SMART goals and breaking them down into habits. You acknowledge your barriers and brainstorm solutions. Set up an accountability system. That's the big piece. Check in and adjust along the way. That accountability system is huge. It's important for us. One of the things that we'll do, I love Diane, but one of the things that we will do is we will give ourselves a break anytime. When I was talking to a friend of mine, she said, boy, we'll give ourselves a break. I said, what you talking about? She said, Rhondo, she said, look, she said, Coop, when if I'm trying to work out and I don't want to get up in the morning, she said, having that accountability partner, somebody sending me a text message in the morning and saying, hey, where you at? What you doing? You working out? I know you're doing something. She said, that helps. That accountability piece, that is so, so very important for us to do that. To have somebody or something that will help us to follow up and to keep going in that whole piece. That's important for us. No questions. Let me keep going. So I just want to highlight this really quick. Is there anything in here that jumps out at you with real or self-care? Anybody? You know what? You can put it in the chat instead of raising your hand, and then I'll take a quick look at it. Anything that jumps out? Anything that jumps out? Let me move this over here. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I will tell you, during COVID, I think that some of this stuff there's a couple things that I might switch over, right? There's one thing that I might switch over. Here's what I might, well, let me say this. So this morning, so COVID doesn't care. And I don't think the world pandemic understood that I had an amazing workshop today. And the shirt that I was going to put on, Mrs. Harris, because I wanted to make sure I look good, especially for you, that my COVID pounds wanted to get in my shirt with me. Right? So, yeah, Colin, my COVID pounds got in the shirt with me. So dieting, I think that could be over here. Now, what would you say about, okay, drugs? What about alcohol? Would alcohol be a real self-care piece? Some people would say alcohol helps to keep me away, keep me off of, that's like my get back drug. Let me keep going with you all. Remember, just like when we talked about this whole piece of drawing the S and making the circles, I want you to remember that this whole self-care is, a lot of this stuff is about you really connecting with you really taking you first, and you really learning a little bit about what makes you who you are. And I want you all to be a superhero be a superhero first to yourself so you can be a superhero to our students. I have a couple more things and I'll be done, and I'll take some questions. I have a link that I will post. And so when you talk about those accountability partners, I found this is pretty cool. And this is something that maybe you can do with your students. I'm going to copy this really quick. So this is write a letter to your future self. And you can see down here, there's a year, 3 years, 5 years. You can send yourself a quick email. I sent myself an email to talk about self-care, but I also sent myself an email I wanted to make sure that I was being gentle and forgiving myself. I wanted to make sure that in June, when I get this email from myself, that I'm telling myself, hey, I still want you to work on losing weight. I still want you to work on meditating. I still want you to work to giving back to you. And I want you to do some other stuff. So I'm going to send this email to myself, and I am going to do this really quick for you all. I am going to put this. So I put that in the chat for you all to be able to have that. And so my very last thing, I just want you to see, this quick video, and then I will be done and take any type of questions really quick.
You're not Julius Caesar, okay? No, I'm not.
Not that one. Here we go. Here we go. Really quick.
How do I know? A lot of people, when they think of the phrase, how do I know, they always want to put the what behind it. How do I know what I'm supposed to do? The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful. If you know, like for instance, people know that I do comedy, but that's what I do. My why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. So I can do comedy, I can write books, I can be in a movie, because all of it is motivated by my why. In fact, I have a new web series out called Michael Jr. Break Time. We probably just did the 6th episode. It's on YouTube. So every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode on YouTube of Michael Jr. Break Time. What it is it's me. I travel around the country and I do stand-up comedy, in case you didn't know. And in the middle of my comedy set sometime, I'll stop and just talk to my audience. And we've been filming this, and it's, you know, it's pretty cool. So we're in Winston-Salem. I'm gonna show you a clip from Winston-Salem. And I'm just talking to this guy in the audience, and he tells me that he's a musical instructor at a school. So I was like, all right, you're a musical instructor, you know, can you sing? Let me hear you sing a song. So this is what happened at the last episode of Michael Jr.'s Break Time. Check it. So you're a musical director? Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick. If you know which version I'm talking about, just see if that exists. Let me see what you got. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
Okay. Let me finish up. I'm at the very end. Okay, I'm at the very end. That guy, in case you didn't know it, Mrs. Harris probably knows, but that young man is Michael Jr. He's an alumni of Grand Rapids Public Schools. So he went to Ottawa Hills, and I think he went to Iroquois Middle School. So Mrs. Harris, I think that you probably noticed this young guy. It'd be nice if we can get him back to Grand Rapids at some point. But I showed that to you because of this. We talked about the benefits of self-care. We talked about creating boundaries. You know, we did our little foot example. We did our counting. I know you couldn't all see the screen, but we did our counting. And one thing that I wanted you all to know is this. Self-care takes time, and getting this overall well-being, you be gentle with yourself. One day when I was stretching, one of my coaches said, hey, be gentle with yourself when you're stretching. And that made me think about us, especially us in this counseling profession, in this fraternity and sorority of counselors. We are gentle with everybody else, but sometimes we're not gentle with ourselves. And I need you all to be gentle with yourself. There's an old song, old song. And I was about to try to sing it, but I'm not, but it was by Bobby Womack. If you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight. And the reason that I said that, my wife was probably cringing, like, why did you bring that up? But the reason that I brought that up is that we only get one of us. And so it's important that we take care of us. You taking care of everybody else, but I need you to take care of yourself. Thank you again. I put that stuff. I'll make sure that I send this information to Ashley and Mrs. Harris. Thank you, Mrs. Harris. I love you dearly. I will do anything for you. If you all need me to come back and talk more, I can talk about kids. I can talk about PTSD. I can talk about a lot of different stuff. My experiences with suicide and assessments in the jail, and doing suicide stuff in the community with males. Not only Black males, just with males. So I can talk about anything. So I love this group. Thank you. If you all have a question, I think I have like 5 minutes or so, and I'll take maybe 1 or 2 questions, if that's okay, Diane, with you and Ashley. I can do that really quick. Otherwise, maybe you can put in the chat what you're kind of thinking. I love that if you don't want to ask a question, but I do want to answer one question if somebody has one. For real. Colin, I know you got a question, Colin. Don't even trip, man. I know you got a question. Raise your hand, Colin, so you can ask a question. Colin, where you at? Cheryl, you got a question? Oh, come on, somebody. No. Wow, I did good. Somebody asked the question this. They said, Beth, while you're thinking of a question to ask, or somebody else, Beth, you can choose somebody too, and maybe they'll ask that question. But somebody asked, how do you go about asking somebody to be an accountability partner? This is about trust, everybody. This is about trust. So one of the things that you have to do is, first, you have to find somebody that you trust enough to give you sometimes what you don't want to hear. And I hesitated a little bit because a lot of times we all want to hear what we want to hear. But sometimes we need our friends and our accountability partners to let us know some of the stuff that we don't hear. So, and I'm not saying that you want somebody all the time to tell you the stuff that you don't hear, because that can be a drag. We're like, dude, you ain't working out. Dude, you getting fat. Dude, what's up, man? You ate everything up in COVID. Man, that weight I lost, you found it, Rhondo. Yeah, I don't want all that. I don't want somebody like that. I want somebody to, be gentle with me as they're giving me that good truth. So look for those people who you can trust to be vulnerable with, because this is a vulnerable place, that we're trying to do. And then you set a time that maybe you all can do that. It might be somebody in this group. It might be somebody in here. So remember, it is about other people and our mission, as somebody pointed out, but it's really, I want you really to get back to you. You are the superheroes of today. Don't let nobody else tell you anything different. And if you need me, Ms. Harris knows how to get in touch with me. Ashley and Diane does, and I'll let you know that you're a superhero. I'll say, yes, you're a superhero, and then I'll hang up the phone. So I love you all. Thank you, for real. Thank you for, and so anything, you all can do this. This is about you. You can do this.
Awesome, Rhondo. Thank you. I'm going to applaud on behalf of the whole group that's listening. Great talk. Thank you so much for reminding us about how important it is to take care of ourselves as counselors, also to be active. Choosing to protect our well-being is super important. I especially just made a few notes here noting the dimensions of self-care. Sometimes we forget about those. and loved your audience interaction today, the spinning foot and the hand thing. Like, I was trying really hard on that one, and I know everyone else was too. And we were laughing in here. There's 4 of us together, kind of broadcasting and monitoring together here.
Were you able to do it?
I kind of did.
Wow. Okay.
A little bit. Then especially noting the values, how they correlate to what we need, and how we will honor that by having boundaries. And then, of course, accountability, as you mentioned there at the end again. Thank you for that. And then the real versus fake. Yeah, we can all kind of gravitate towards the fake stuff.
Oh my goodness.
But really, what is the real self-care? And then ending with Michael Jr., I just love him. I'm a fan of his. He's great. And then knowing your why. And that's, I think for all of us, we can say the why is what gets us out of bed in the morning, right? Like, that's why we keep doing this. Absolutely. And then that spills over into the what, you know, the strategies, the tactics, the everyday. So thank you, Rhondo. We really, really appreciated your talk. We needed this today. We're all working hard out there, and we can do hard things, and we do need encouragement. So again, we really thank you and appreciate your time today, and all of your wisdom, and the amazing grace dude at the end. Come on.
Man.
Wow. That was fantastic.
I wanted to sing, but my wife was like, That was the one thing she did wake up and say, don't sing.
Well, again, thank you so much. And to all of you who are on right now, just stay on, and we're going to transfer it over to Ashley Van Bemelen, who's going to hit us with some announcements and lead us into our breakout sessions. Again, thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. We just want to get through a couple of quick announcements before you head into your breakout sessions right now. So I want to take just a moment to discuss pre-registration. There's no need for that pre-registration for breakout sessions. You're just going to use that conference login page all day, follow the schedule, click the sessions that you want to go to. For sketches, we will have an attendance link, essentially another Google form we'll send at the end of the conference that you'll fill out which sessions you attended, and then we will turn that in for sketches. We will be back in this meeting room at 10:15 for announcements and a raffle. So please join us. We'll be giving away 5 gift cards during that time after you finish up that first session. And then any questions you have throughout the day, just go ahead and put them in the chat. This room will actually remain open most of the day, and you can pop back into this main session. You might notice it's the same link for this session during our 10:15 announcements. It's the same link for this session during our keynote in the afternoon. So I'll try to be here to monitor the session as we launch some of those breakout rooms. So you can go back to that conference login page and select your breakout room, and we will see you in those, and then back here at 10:15. Thank you.